Hi, Henk Akkermans here, Supply Network Dynamics Chapter 7, clip number 5, Base Case or Historical Behavior. Okay, we are now at the interface level of this sim, and let's look at how this model behaves. Perhaps it's a good idea to zoom in on the first stage first. So let's run this model just for the first 50 weeks and see what happens. Now, what do we see? We see a development stage. So the first thing here we are at, these are the main flows in the system. So the main rates. The first rate that you see here in line number 1 says the rate at which the development work takes place in stage 1. That starts at 1 because the capacity initially is constrained to 10. You may want 25 or 20 or whatever, but initially there's a shortage of staff, as it was already historically, so all this amount of work you missed. Sad, but that's the way it is. As a result, not all the work is done, and so you get a postponement effect to the next stage. You also see that the first stage starts, second stage starts at week 43 rather than a week 40, so there is some delay, some 9% or so delay of the first stage, of the stage gate of the first stage. So this is what happens in the first 40 weeks. Now let's look at a couple other things. What you see then also as nothing happens yet in the case 2 and stage 2 and 3, but here you see that the amount of tasks that need to be done decline and up to a level of 19 here. Some of them have actually been done, others have been postponed to the next stage, but nevertheless most of it is gone by this time. This is the red line is the number of tasks that actually are being done. What you see here then is in the end some 892 tasks have been done. That's not really 1,000, is it? So some 100 tasks have been postponed to the next stage. What you also see is that development capacity, which is initially at 10, grows here and grows. The capacity reduction rate as a result of budget pressures isn't really happening here, although tiny little bit, of course, perhaps in the beginning. What you definitely do see that initially there's a strong increase of capacity adjustment. We could have made this more fancy with a third order delay, perhaps, so that because in reality probably it's more a pattern like very little inflow and then some bit more later on. Nevertheless, this already fits our purpose. We have an initial capacity at 10 and we move towards 30, 31 later on. And that's the way it is. What you see in terms of project cost here, the total project budget is fixed at this level. The project burn rate increases in line with the capacity increases, and the cumulative project costs almost linearly, but in fact slightly exponentially increase every week, and so does the percentage of budget spent also increases every week. This is total development capacity, cumulative project cost, and task to be developed. A project completed. All these graphs we'll see later on when we look at different policy variables. If I now run the project, if I now run the simulation a bit longer, so that we can also see stage 2, then here again you see stage 1 evolving. There is a first postponement happening, stage 2 is started, and soon we'll see some postponement there, the green line for stage 2 starting, and stage 3 starts. You see stage 3 starts not that much delayed after 5 weeks, but most of the effect of the has been established, the release of pressure by postponements of work. This is also clear if you look at the amount of work that needs to be done in stage 3, because if we release that a little bit here, then you see that actually that is initially 1,000, but up here, because of all the extra schedule pressure and the postponement effects, it increases to some 1,160, and that's after the project has already started. So some 200 tasks or so are being postponed to stage 3, and stage 3 simply has the challenging task of completing all that in time. The capacity is no longer stable here, but starts to decline because the budget pressures are becoming increasingly greater. So yes, there is still more people added because there's more work to be done, but the budget pressures are becoming more and more strong. What you see here is the percentage budget spent is getting higher and higher, and so actually we are getting towards the end of this project, although the people in it may not be all that aware of it. This is quite clear if you run this model for the full period. Well, let's say even to for the whole period, because again, this is the dynamics in the first stage, the second stage. There you've got this peak of work towards the work going into stage number 3, and up here after 140 weeks nothing happens anymore, because basically effectively the project has been killed at this point. No longer any project duration left. Also the development capacity was being shrunk and shrunk as we got closer to this last period. There simply wasn't any budget left, and the percentage spent is then also at well over 100%. So end of project, too sad, but that's the way it went.